Beef Bourguignon is the mother stew. It's if you know how to make this stew, you can make practically any other kind of stew because it has all the basic tricks you use to get a good stew. And I do it like this. Beef Bourguignon, it is a difficult dish to make. It has a lot of ingredients and there's a lot of steps in doing it right. But when you know that dish, you actually have a solid basic foundation in French cooking because many of the steps used in this recipe is done all over French cooking. First off, you cut the bacon off into slices, to cubes. Then we save that. And now we need to cut this into smaller pieces. Remove the bone. Cut as closely as at the bone as possible. And this is where you use a fillet knife like this, a soft knife that can go around the bone. Then I remove all the chewy bits. This is not really something you want to eat. Then we just split it up into long slices, about 2 inches, 4 centimeters, 5 centimeters. It's not that important. If there's any tendrils inside, no, not tendrils, sinews, you just cut them over. No need to remove them at this point. It'll boil so long that they'll become soft and chewy. Then we ready the onion. This is the rough cooking, the preparation, where you clear or ready all the vegetables. I just cut them coarsely like this into rough cubes. Peel the carrots and remove the ends. Cut them into 4 or 5 centimeters, 1 inch, no 2 inch long pieces. Remove the end of the garlic. We don't want that. Remove the peel. And now I cut them into relatively large cubes because we don't need them to be very small as it's gonna cook a long time. And you risk it burning. And the leek, you remove the root and the ugly tips. And remove any bad leaves until there's only a pretty leaf left. So these are now 10 centimeters, 4 inches, because we have to clean them, and it's easiest to do this way. Cut them over in the center, so you have separate leaves. Then you have to open them up and make sure there's no dirt inside them. Leeks has a bad tendency for this, so you really have to be careful. It's too bad using a lot of time making a good dish and then there's sand in them. Now I just cut them over at the middle. Now they are 2 inches long. So that was the general prep work, and now we have to do the cooking. I add a little bit of fat to start off the bacon. And this is a high temperature. We want it to brown quickly. And we don't want to be standing here all day. When they're golden, you shouldn't bake them crispy. There's no reason for that. Just we want to give them a little bit of flavor. So we'll put them aside. Then we'll take the flour, turn it the meat and turn it over in the flour, because we want to get some extra flavor from both the meat and the flour. And the flour will also thicken the sauce. This is basically making a roux on the meat. So I add a little more grease, because I'm going to do the vegetables and the flour has soaked up some. And I add the vegetables before the butter is completely melted, because we don't want the butter to brown or burn. And now we brown the vegetables so they get some flavor. It'll color the sauce, and it'll add a little extra flavor. It's like making a dark stock basically in a pot. And we'll add a little bit of wine. Well, not a little bit. We add a lot of wine. And I save a little bit for later, as you saw. Boil it a few minutes until it doesn't smell that badly of alcohol anymore. Then we add the meat. Now it has to simmer with the lid on, so we want a little bit of steam to be able to escape. We don't want the temperature to be too high, and we can lower it a little bit if the steam can escape. So I put this aluminum foil inside. Then we add the herbs, the bouquet garni. To extract the flavor, we let it be covered. And I moved it to another fire, and then I salt now, so the salt can enter the meat, about 1 tablespoon per kilo or 2 pounds of meat, and then a lot of pepper. And now we leave it to simmer. While it's simmering, we ready the last vegetables. The mushrooms needs to be cleaned. These button mushrooms you can easily soak in water. Some mushrooms can't handle it, but these can. Just rub off the dirt, pour away the water, put them into quarter if they're large. If they're small, just into halves. That way they end up approximately the same size. And so it's time to fry those. I usually use 2 types of fat, one of them being butter, and a good hot pan, frying pan. And you can turn them over like this, add some salt, some pepper, a squeeze of lemon juice, and now we leave those for later. Yeah, that looks good. And now the small onions, or the shallots, if you have those, you carefully remove the root end. This is shallot onion, by the way. Cut a thin slice, remove the outer layer and the skin. Yeah, I got 10 thumbs, can't help it. I need to remove a little more. We don't want to eat anything that looks like a root, but now it still holds well together. It will not fall apart when we cook it. And again, a bit of fat, a bit of butter. Add the onions. This is a little bit of sugar. And this is the rest of the red wine I didn't add to the sauce. And now we are glazing the onions. And that's a classic French technique too. You can use for almost any vegetable. And if the water or the liquid has boiled away before the onions are done, you can add a little bit of water to keep it going. You see how it's very thick and viscous. It's almost done by now. And you cannot do it at too low temperature. They have to brown. That's it. Now the onions are done too. So we remove the the herbs, the bouquet garni. This is just before eating. About 10 minutes or something like that. Now we just need to heat it. It has already been fried, everything. Then we let it simmer until we're ready to eat. And check it, and if you could pull it apart with a thong like this, it's done. So now it's time to eat. It's difficult, but it's definitely worth it, so enjoy. And you can find the list of ingredients and the recipe on kvalifood.